Okay, welcome everyone. We are here today, the Wetlands Defense Fund and Save Malibu Lagoon, because we want to save Malibu Lagoon. And it's sort of shocking that we have to do this, because a friend of mine who lives over here, a good friend of Jerry Brown when he was the governor, said to me that she walked him along that beach and suggested that this be a state park, that Malibu Lagoon be a state park. And he went for it, and so when Jerry Brown was governor the first time, he made that a state park. And you would think that it's public land, why would we have to save it? Well, unfortunately, there are some people who think that they know better than Mother Nature. And there's money involved, and there are people who are well-meaning people, but who do not understand or have not fully read or comprehended all of the science that's behind this project. Because the science says that you have wetland plants like cattails and reeds and all of the wonderful lush wetland plants we have over there. Those actually help clean the water. So why would you remove them? And if this is truly a project that would help clean the water, you don't need to remove the plants. In fact, you might want to plant some more plants, because there's 2 acres there that used to be parking lot and lawn, and that area could be replanted. And we're going to be talking about this a lot this next week, about alternatives that make sense, that actually enhance the habitat and help clean the water without destroying habitat, because I think a couple of the other speakers are going to get a little bit more into the exact plans of what they're going to do. It's shocking, and it will destroy habitat, it will destroy animals. They will be under the bulldozer. This little tidewater goby here, I think Roy, our biologist, is going to tell you a little bit more about that. It's an endangered fish, and it's breeding and spawning during this time that they're going to do it. Next year, next summer at this time, that place is going to look very different if we don't all band together and bring out more of our friends and neighbors, because it's going to take 200 people at this Coastal Commission hearing, October 13th, if we want to make a difference. So I hope you'll be there, and I hope you will bring others along with you. Thank you.
Yay! Woohoo!
Roy Vanderhoek, biologist.
Thank you, Marcia Hanscom. Yes, save Malibu Lagoon. I am a wetland scientist, a wildlife biologist, dabbled in marine biology and botany, and there's a lot to save here, and there's a lot that can be lost if dredging occurs here. Even before a dredging machine can go in here, big bulldozers with dump trucks to take away the mud, the living soil. I just called it mud, but it's also living soil with full of microbes, animals, and endangered species. And one of those is the tidewater goby. It's a small fish, not more than your index finger in length, 1 to 2 inches, can only live for 1 year. If it doesn't reproduce all of its young in that 1 year, the next year that species of fish is gone forever from Malibu Lagoon. And that happened back in the 1960s and 70s, likely due to pollution and development back then. We brought that fish back in 1993. It's been here now 17 years, that small fish. And that fish needs to be saved just because our government has recognized it as endangered. Our United States government has, and so has our state of California. It's been on the endangered species list for a good 20 years now. And it used to occur from the Oregon border to the Mexican border, and now there's only about 20 locations left in the world. We're one of those 20 locations in Malibu Lagoon. If you don't want to save it because it's an endangered species, you would want to save it because it's also in a food chain, and birds and larger fish feed on the tidewater goby that are also rare, like the least tern, another bird that's been recognized by our government as endangered. We don't want to see that dredging happen. I've studied the environmental impact report. It is not a good report. It's saying everything's going to be okay if they do this project. It's just not going to be. They're going to have to put up an apron, a wall, a partially cement wall of rocks. They're going to have to put up a curtain that's going to keep the water from going into the lagoon and slowly pumping it out with motorized pumps till it's drying mud, caking, getting the smell of death on it, and then when it's dry, the bulldozers go in and take out our precious soils upon which all life is based on. It's just biologically a big mistake. Back to that tidewater goby, for example, we need to think of this metaphor. It is the canary in the coal mine. Thank you. And we need to think about all the citizens of one who I've just have known for only a couple of years, who wanted to save the trees adjacent to Malibu Lagoon. And Bill Luttlejohn has done that. The trees are saved, that some of these herons and egrets, the osprey, one of America's largest hawks that catches fish in Malibu Lagoon, the many other types of birds, the black-crowned night heron, a nighttime fishing bird. Things go on 24 hours a day of hunters, of fish hunters, the birds that are in Malibu Lagoon, and they need places to rest. If you're a nighttime hunter, you have to rest in the daytime. If you're a daytime hunter, you rest at night. That tree, that series of trees in this Bill Littlejohn's yard is now saved, and that's the kind of restoration we need to have that's genuine, that saves all the parts to the Malibu Lagoon ecosystem. A very famous conservationist and scientist, a mentor to me, or a role model to me, Aldo Leopold, said, the metaphor of a watch. And back in the 1950s, watches were very mechanical with all the moving parts and all that. He said that the most important part in intelligent tinkering with your watch, when you're taking it apart, is not to lose any of the parts, save all the parts, or you're not going to be able to put it back together again. So why would we start taking out parts in this dredging operation? It's not right. We have a plan. We can tell you more about the 7 points to our restoration plan, the alternative. That's a really good one to have. And it's time for me as a biologist to pass it on, because I'll keep talking about nature if you let me. But back to Marcia.
And now I'd like to introduce to you a really great person who has been a part of the Malibu community for a long time and who recognizes the importance of the birds here, Mr. Geoffrey Nathanson.
Thank you, Marcia. I'm not a scientist. I've been a resident of Malibu for 49 years. I was here when the ball field my kids played Little League baseball on was removed and the lagoon was brought in, and I said, why in the world would you do that to a beautiful baseball field? And they replaced it with one of the greatest natural habitats in Southern California, and fortunately they moved the ballpark up the coast. Because I'm not a scientist, I just am a bird lover, a nature lover. I've brought my children out to enjoy the beautiful intimacy of being able to stand on a bridge and watch those beautiful creatures that swim in that lagoon, that breed in that lagoon. I've taken my grandchildren out there. I've been out there when busloads of children would come from the Los Angeles school systems and the Santa Monica school systems and other school systems throughout Los Angeles. They would come out there and they would be greeted by professionals who would explain to them exactly what these creatures are, what it was all about. They are proposing to remove those bridges, which not only, and reroute the traffic to the beach. There's 1.5 million people that come on over those bridges every year. You take out those bridges, you destroy their intimacy with the beautiful creatures they've come to see. There's no way, unless they've got high-powered binoculars, that they can possibly see the creatures. And the truth is, the creatures won't be there anymore. They're gone. It may take years for them to return. And that is the sacrifice they're making with the plan they have right now to literally rip out everything and wait patiently for it to return. I also wonder, as a citizen of the state of California, with this state near bankruptcy, with our schools down to 4 or 5 hour days, where we have 40 kids in a classroom, where music and art courses have been dropped, where athletic activities have been cut back, and all the very dire needs the state had for money, that it's investing $10 or $20 million on a so-called beautification project we don't need. The timing is wrong. On the other hand, if they have to do it, if they have to spend the taxpayers' money, the way to do it is a kinder, gentler way. A way that they can go in and do what I would consider the type of cleanup that they did, that was done in Bologna, that was done in Venice. There's another way to do it without throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Thank you very much.